All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
In the dark of night, the stars ignite. Whispers from above call for our flight. Shadows in the sky, a shimmer, a spark. Alien wonders lurking in the dark. Flickering lights on the horizon's edge. UFOs gliding, they've crossed the hedge. Strange signals echo, another worldly sound in the realms of the cosmos where secrets abound. With every sighting, pulses race fast, chasing the truth while shadows are cast. Extraterrestrial dreams invade the night, close encounters that fill us with fright. Alien abduction in the depths of the night.
And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. I'm Rob McConnell, and for the next 2 hours, I'm going to be your host and your guide as together we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And we come to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. until midnight right here on the Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ Radio in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. They also stream us on classic1220.ca. Tonight we're diving deep into the power of the mind with one of America's leading experts in subconscious transformation. And I'm talking about our guest this hour, Tim Shurr. Tim is the founder of Indy Hypnosis, a renowned success coach who has helped thousands of people overcome fear, anxiety, bad habits, and self-sabotage through the science of hypnosis and mind mastery. He's also an acclaimed speaker, author, and the mind behind powerful programs that help people break free and live boldly. Get ready to discover how to rewire your brain for success right here, right now, with Tim Shurr on the X Zone. Tim, welcome to the X Zone.
Pleasure to be with you again, Rob.
Tim, for our listeners who may not be familiar with you, could you share a bit about your background and what led you to the field of hypnosis?
Well, when I was growing up, I was always into anything that could help me feel empowered and safe and strong. I had a lot of insecurity and bad habits and anxiety, and so I wanted to learn how to have confidence. I had a therapist tell me one time, he says, Tim, you've got generalized anxiety disorder. And I'm like, well, how do I get generalized confidence in order? And he didn't know. And so, I've always been into the paranormal and anything. If it had Bigfoot or alien or crop circles, I wanted to learn more. And when a hypnotist came into my life and said that he could help boost my confidence, I was all in. And that was about 33 years ago, and I've been doing it ever since.
Tim, what was the defining moment when you realized hypnosis could actually and truly change lives?
Well, it started with myself. I was going through my formal training, and I was a very bad nail biter. So I would chew my fingernails until they bled, and then I would keep going. And it didn't matter how many Band-Aids I put on, or if I put hot sauce on my fingers, or I sat on my hands, they ended up back in my mouth. And my first hypnosis trainer, Dr. Gazella Zuskowski, she put me in a trance, and she helped me to recognize that, that nail biting was a way of comforting myself. And she told me I didn't need to do that anymore, and I had other ways of feeling more peaceful now. And ever since then, I never chewed my fingernails again. And I thought that was a bona fide miracle. And to this day, I don't bite my fingernails anymore.
That's great.
That was my first big wow.
That's great to hear, Tim. Tell us about the mission behind Indy Hypnosis and what sets Indy Hypnosis apart from other practices.
So our mission is to end needless emotional suffering. In life, there's going to be pain, but so much of the suffering we experience is optional and not necessary. the anxieties, the worries, the fears, the depressions, the phobias, the bad habits that we develop, the coping skills, eating too much, drinking too much, smoking too much, all these vices that we have, all come down to this fear of not being good enough and not feeling safe and not being in control. And I devoted my life to finding a cure for peace, for anxiety and getting rid of all our worries and helping to create a sense of inner peace. And for 3 decades now, after facilitating over 16,000 one-on-one hypnosis sessions, I've seen thousands and thousands of miracles, thousands of people who felt like achieving their goals were impossible, and then they did it. And so I'm out here to upgrade the how we do therapy, because talk therapy really doesn't work very well, and most people have tried it and not gotten very good results and feel like they're just stuck the way they are. And I'm here to let you know there's a better way.
Jim, you've worked with thousands of clients. What common struggle do people usually seek you out for?
People usually come to me to lose weight or stop smoking, or to bust some bad habit that they have, or overcome some kind of fear. So maybe they're chewing their nails, or they're afraid of flying. But lately, over the last few years, people have been coming to me to get rid of their anxiety and to overcome past trauma.
Wow.
Bad things that we go through, and it just seems like it might have happened 30 years ago, but we still haven't got over it. I've had clients that were in their late 80s that were coming to me because of things that happened to them when they were 13 years old, and they never were able to get over it. It kind of ruined their whole life. And I developed this method to be able to help people to rapidly free themselves from the past so that you can show up in the present more peaceful and with more joy.
So you help them get rid of the luggage that they've been dragging along with them throughout their years.
Exactly right, Rob. And that luggage, turns out, it's unconscious beliefs, or what people call subconscious beliefs, right? It's these ideas that you go through an experience, and then our brain decides what that experience means. And when we go through, I call big T and little t traumas. Little t traumas are when you get embarrassed, when you get humiliated, when you don't get picked to be on the team, something like that. And then the big T traumas are more of the abuses that people go through, or deaths, or illnesses, or divorces, and things that are very traumatic. And our brain makes up a belief about it without our permission, and often without us even knowing that it's doing it, and makes up these beliefs that end up causing us feel like we're not safe, or we're not good enough, or you can't trust people, and it causes all kinds of problems in our life.
I would imagine that during the time of COVID and post-COVID, there was a lot of people who needed help, because COVID changed the world. Not in a gradual way, but one day was without COVID, the next day you were shut down. People were, you were kind of like put on an island, and you couldn't leave the island anymore. How did you deal with that? Post-COVID, I guess we can call it the post-COVID syndrome.
It's really, you're right about that. I had a lot of calls afterwards when we started going back outside again, hanging out with people, and there was so much fear even around that. Boy, if you happened to sneeze while you were at the grocery store, you think people are going to throw you out. And so it caused a lot of fear. It caused a lot of people to have to face the issues that they were too busy to deal with in your regular life, because we were on this crazy train. Everybody's going so fast all the time. And then we were forced to slow down. Then all of a sudden, people started taking a look at what was going on and what they were sweeping under the rug or ignoring. And, it caused, our office, we got busy real fast because people were just flooded with all this worry and fear, and about the future, and what could happen, and is it going to happen again, and that just comes back to this belief that I'm not safe, right? And so many people have this fear that I'm not safe, and that fear comes from the deepest core belief that I'm not good enough. We have these experiences that make us feel like we're not enough, and because we're not enough, we won't be loved, we won't be able to handle ourselves, and that's very scary. And it causes us to have a lot of worries that we don't need to have.
Tim, was there any skepticism or resistance you faced early in your career due to the misconceptions about hypnosis?
Oh yeah, constantly. In fact, I had them myself because I thought hypnosis was just clucking like a chicken and silly stuff, but I didn't really believe it, but I thought I would try it out when that one hypnotist, I was in school for psychology, and he came to one of our classes because they had guest speakers come in sharing what they did, and I volunteered, and because I thought I'll just entertain my friends, and instead I felt this deep sense of peace that I had never felt before, and so I wanted to learn more. Now, the school that I was going to, they were very behavioral in nature, and so they didn't believe in things like hypnosis. And I remember I got my certification, Rob, and I came back, and the department head of psychology was teaching a class, and he started making fun of things like hypnosis. And I said, well, have you ever done it? He's like, no. And I'm like, have you ever had a training on it? He's like, no. And I'm like, well, I just got back from one, and it's amazing. And he didn't like that I was challenging him. And then, of course, the general public, all they know is what they've seen from movies, and or what they've seen from vampire movies, or what they've seen from the last movie with Ben Affleck called Hypnotic.
Oh, right.
About a guy that could hypnotize you to think whatever he wants, right? Which, of course, is nonsense. But if that was the case, people would be running around hypnotizing everybody to do all kinds of stuff.
And of course, you have the sideshow hypnotists as well.
Yes, you've got these stage hypnotists.
Yes.
Yeah, these entertainment hypnotists, and that's a very different thing. In fact, I just made a video about that on YouTube, revealing the stage hypnosis secrets, because it's not what it looks like. It's made to look like you're just taking strangers and putting them in a deep trance and getting them to do whatever. But really what you're doing is you're simply using behavior modification, and you are asking people to come up to volunteer.
Right.
So they're all volunteers. They know that the goofier they act, the more applause they're going to get. That's called positive reinforcement.
Right.
You're looking for people that are very suggestible. Like if you have two people watch a movie and one person sees the dog get run over and they're crying on the couch, and the other person sitting next to them going, the dog's fine. The dog's an actor. It's okay, So we're looking for the people that are crying on the couch.
Yeah.
They're the emotional ones. They're the most suggestible. So we're picking them out, doing a little suggestibility test, and then we just keep getting them to do more and more silly stuff. And the more silly stuff they do, the more applause they get.
The more
there's
reinforcement.
all these other things going on that people aren't aware of.
Tim, you and I have to take our first break. Please stand by. And Exonation, Tim Shurr is our special guest. IndyHypnosis.com is the website. And Tim and I will be back very shortly on the other side of this break as the X Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And you're listening to us on the Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, and your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ AM in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, streaming on classic1220.ca.
Lights on the horizon's edge, UFOs gliding, they've crossed the hedge. Strange signals echo, another worldly sound in the realms of the cosmos where secrets abound. With every sighting, pulses race fast, chasing the truth while shadows are cast. Extraterrestrial dreams invade the night, close encounters that fill us with fright.
In the twilight glow where the shadows creep, in the quiet woods where secrets sleep, there's a tale that's told by the firelight's dance of a great wild spirit and a second chance. They say he's a giant with a heart so bold, covered in darkness with stories untold, a creature of legend from the tales of yore, known as Bigfoot, but he's so much more. Oh, Bigfoot, wanderer of the night, in the whispers of the pine.
Exonation, and Tim Shurr is our special guest. His website is indyhypnosis.com. Tim, what exactly is hypnosis, and how does it differ from the Hollywood or stage show presentation? Now, we started to talk about that in the segment just preceding this one. But what is the science? What is the medicine? What is the neurology behind hypnosis?
Great question, Rob. So hypnosis is a state of focused attention where the person becomes more relaxed and simply more open to suggestion. And hypnosis in its traditional sense is a way of getting people to relax and then giving them positive suggestions or affirmations in repetition in a way that allows them to start to absorb those ideas as though they're truth. And then, of course, what you believe, you act upon, right? What you think about comes about. What you focus on, you move towards. And so it really is about upgrading our beliefs. Now, what makes my approach different from most is that I'm not focusing on the belief, or I'm not focusing on the thoughts that we have. I'm focusing on what's driving those thoughts. Because I find that a lot of times people come to me and they're like, I can't stop my negative thinking, or I'm worrying all the time, or I can't sleep because my mind won't shut off. And how do I get my mind to stop having all these thoughts? And I'm like, what are the beliefs that are driving those thoughts? Now, when you go to therapy, you talk about these negative thoughts, and that's kind of like cutting the top off of a weed. You can talk about your problems all day long, but it won't change them.
Right.
And it won't change how you feel about them. So that's why, you cut the top off of weeds, they're just going to grow back. Then what people say is, well, you got to take medicine. Well, medicine is like throwing dirt on top of weeds. So that's not actually doing anything at all except giving you more side effects.
Yeah.
So the best way, Rob, to do it is to pull the weeds out at the root. And that's why this one belief away method is a way of going right in the very first session to the core belief that's driving those fears, and then pulling it out at the root and planting a flower instead, a more empowering belief. And when you feed your mind new beliefs and you give it new experiences, new emotional experiences that it's like the miracle grow, it locks those beliefs in, then people start to look at the world differently. They start to tell themselves a new story about their life, which makes them feel different, which makes them behave in new ways, which produces new results, which reinforces the new beliefs and the new story. And all of a sudden, people find themselves living life at a better, more fulfilling level.
So basically, you just get rid of the garbage and bring them, you help them get rid of the garbage. You feed them the fertilizer, and they are basically back where they started before all this negativity started influencing their life.
Yeah, well said. That's
Wow.
Exactly right. Yeah. We got a lot of fertilizer in our head.
We also have a lot. Yeah, what kind of fertilizer is the question?
Exactly. Yeah. And so a lot of manure in our head, and we need to clear it out. And I often will use the metaphor that you have this beautiful computer and it runs really well. It's very powerful. But then you download some viruses from the internet, and now all of a sudden the programs aren't running the way that they're supposed to, and it's very frustrating. And so I guess you could try to go get another computer, or you could sweet talk your computer, but that's not going to change anything. What you got to do is you got to remove the virus.
Yep.
Right? So we've got these mind viruses, and we've got to remove them. And when we do, like you said, it's kind of going back to your original default, your original design, and then all of a sudden that computer can finally run the way that it was originally designed to.
Tim, can anyone be hypnotized, or are some people more susceptible than others?
Well, some people are definitely more open to suggestion or susceptible than others, but everybody can do it because everybody does. Everybody goes in and out of hypnosis twice a day.
Really?
Right before you fall asleep at night and right before you get out of bed in the morning. And they even have names for it, hypnagogic and hypnopompic. These are natural brainwave states that we go in and out of all the time. Plus, if you ever get really caught up in a movie and someone asks you a question, you're like, huh, what?
Right.
Right, because you're so focused. Or have you ever been driving down the road and you drive a few miles down the road and you don't quite remember driving there?
Highway hypnosis.
Highway hypnosis,
Yeah.
yes. These are all forms of trance, and so it's very natural. Hypnotists just discovered that if you guide people in these natural states, they respond better to suggestion. That's why television commercials, you got to be careful. Television commercials are simply hypnotic suggestions. You're watching TV, they get you relaxed, they put you in a trance, then they show you the same commercial over and over and over again, and then all of a sudden you want to go, in America, you want to go buy the purple pill because they're showing you these drug commercials over and over and over again.
Isn't that called subliminal advertising?
Subliminal is when it goes underneath your conscious awareness.
Okay.
Right? So it kind of is like that, because you're like, how would somebody ever go buy that medicine? Because if you listen to them, so what you'll do is you'll see a couple walking in the park holding hands,
Yep.
Cartoon butterflies, families and joyful and hugging and happy together, and then underneath the words say, if you take this medicine, your head could fall off, your eyes will bleed, you'll grow 2 more arms.
Exactly.
Right?
So why take the damn stuff?
Yeah, and then you're at the doctor going, I'll take that. Okay, because subliminally, those messages kind of get overridden because of the imagery. The imagery is more powerful than the words. And so, in a way, it's subliminal, but just not in a good way.
I would imagine the same thing is very possible on the internet as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, people are using these messages all the time. I see them in all kinds of different ways. A bad example, an unethical example, is I remember I was watching TV a long time ago, and there was this evangelist preacher on there, and he was kneeling down on it looked like a tree stump, and he had the Bible on the tree stump, and he was talking to his ideal clients, which it looked were the way he was talking, it looked like it was grandparents. And what he was saying to them is, now I'm not telling you that if you don't send in a donation of over $25, I'm not telling you that your grandchildren might rot in hell for eternity. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's exactly what he's saying. He's using subliminal language and hypnotic suggestion to scare people into sending, $25, $100, because they don't want their grandchildren, their pride and joy, to go to hell for eternity.
Exactly.
So yeah, people use this all the time, and it's about to get worse with AI and the deep fakes and all the stuff they can make us believe that's false. It's going to get crazy here in the next couple years.
Well, from what I see on the internet and on the news on television, it's already gotten there, my friend.
Yeah. We'll use that word news loosely, right?
Yeah.
It's not the kind of news that we watched growing up.
No, definitely not. It's a totally different world.
Yeah, it's not news. It's almost like entertainment and spin than it is, actually just giving us unbiased news.
Tim, this must be doing something to people, this 724, 365 news and fake news cycle.
Yes.
How can we gauge what it is actually doing to the population of the United States and Canada, and how it's affecting not only our productivity, but everything else that we do in life?
So there's 2 things. There's productivity, and then there's community. So when it comes to productivity, when you are constantly being told the worst things about life, and it's constantly coming at you, then it's going to bring your energy down, because you're going to be convinced that the sky is falling and that this place is a terrible place to live in, because they're not, they're going to tell you how many people died and how many people were convicted of crimes and how many people got divorced today, and all the horrible things that are going on. And they're not telling you about the births and the marriages and the happiness and the joy and all the beautiful experiences that happened as well. So if you're constantly being fed a diet of negativity, it's going to affect your focus, your energy, your level of peace. That's why so many people are struggling now with anxiety and depression and feelings of loneliness.
Yeah.
So the second piece of it is community. What people are noticing is that we are getting segmented based on where we live, the messages we're being sent. So people are in different bubbles, and you might be told one thing and I'm being told something else, but we both think everybody's seeing the same thing, and it's not. We might think we're all seeing the same headlines, but we're seeing different headlines based on where we live. And so we are being force-fed information, and, the big, tech companies, they've got these algorithms where if you start clicking on a few things, they're going to just start showing you all of that stuff, and they're not going to show you what else is available. So you're going to get force-fed opinions that are going to start to become your opinions, and you're only hearing half the story. And it's happening all over the place. We call it propaganda, and it's happening everywhere. And so it's not causing us to come together. It's causing us to divide and mistrust, our neighbors across the borders and our neighbors across the street.
Jim, I've got about a minute before I have to go to my next break. Quickly, what are some of the biggest myths surrounding hypnosis you'd like to debunk?
That it's dangerous, or that you can make people control them. And unless you're a vampire, you cannot do that. And it is not dangerous at all. It's 100% safe. Out of all the sessions and all the other hypnotists who've done we've done millions of sessions, and it is safe, and it is a very loving, empowering tool for using the power of your mind to create your life by design.
All right, stand by, my friend. You and I have to take our second break for this hour. Exonation, Tim Shurr is our special guest. His website is www.indyhypnosis.com. That's www.indy. I nearly said Hindi for some reason. indyhypnosis.com. Tim and I will be back as the X Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, streamed around the world on classic1220.ca.
In the quiet woods where secrets sleep, there's a tale that's told by the firelight's dance of a great wild spirit and a second chance. They say he's a giant with a heart so bold, covered in darkness with stories untold, a creature of legend from the tales of yore, known as Bigfoot, but he's so much more. Oh, Bigfoot, wanderer of the night, in the whispers of the pines, you're a fleeting sight, with your massive footsteps in the soft, cool earth, you're a symbol of... Underneath the pale moonlight, shadows start to creep in the graveyard where the secrets are buried deep. Eerie whispers call my name from the tombstones that align. Halloween night ignites the fear, and the spirits intertwine. Fog rolls in, thick as a dream, where the fallen lie, silenced unseen. Howling winds carry tales of the lost in this haunted place. We all pay the cost. Grave markers weep with the forgotten lore. Echoes of laughter haunt forevermore. Chilling sparks of life in this cryptic dance. Every heartbeat quickens, every shadow a glance. Can you feel the pulse of the night?
Welcome back, everyone. Tim Shurr is our special guest. indyhypnosis.com is his website. And hypnosis, I know hypnosis works from a personal experience. My wife was undergoing, what's it called when they put a scope down a person's throat? And anyway, a good friend of ours, Georgina Cannon, is a hypnotist here in Ontario. And Georgina taught her over the phone how to do self-hypnosis for the day of the procedure, and it worked. So I know for a fact this isn't hooey, that it really does work. Where I have a problem, Tim, is with these people who have had either alien abduction experiences or some kind of experience with the paranormal, and they go to a hypnotist for a past life regression. And does that really work? Is that true? I have great doubts when it comes to that.
Well, it's true, but I don't know if the past lives are true. It's true that you can get people to go back and have an experience, or what we call revivication, where they might recall a past life. Is it real what they're imagining? I have no idea. I don't know. But I will tell you that when I was younger and I was really into all of that, because I just wanted to understand the mysteries of the mind. I did hundreds of past life regressions, usually around Halloween. But I would do a lot of them, and I will tell you that I started to kind of get turned off from it a little bit, because it seemed like everybody that I was taking back and that were going to a past life, it really wasn't changing anything in their present life. And they were always a Native American Indian or Egyptian princess or, something special. And it just didn't seem like it was changing anything.
Yeah.
So I found that the issues that people needed to deal with are in this life.
Yeah, nobody's ever talked about going past lives where they come across themselves as Ugg, the caveman.
Yeah.
Is it
But
possible?
even I
I'm
had,
sorry.
I remember there was a book by Brian Weiss, Many Lives, Many Masters, and he was a psychiatrist, and he started having people spontaneously have past lives, and so he just got into it, and then of course he started doing more of it, and then he had a whole thing where now everybody that came to him was going to have a past life experience. And he said that he was, he saw remarkable things. People would start speaking languages that they had never spoken before, or they knew dates that, how in the world would you possibly have known that? And, and so it is a mysterious world, and there may be something to it. I don't know really what it is, but I remember I worked with a woman one time, and she was coming to me for migraines. And so she wanted to do a past life regression. So I went and took her through the experience, and she had this whole memory of being somewhere where there was horses. And she said that she was walking by a horse, and it startled and kicked her in the head, and she fell in the water and drowned.
Wow.
And so, we thought, well, all right, well, we figured out what that was, and we forgave the horse, and we gave her a sense of peace in that moment, and but her headaches didn't change. So she didn't have any relief from the migraine headaches, even though she had this whole miraculous journey that she went through. And but then I worked with her a little bit more, and it turned out that she had a lot of anger towards her father. That when she was little, she was not allowed to express that, or she would have been punished severely. Right. So she shoved it all down, and that unexpressed anger and rage made her head feel like a teapot where she couldn't release the steam. And when we released the steam in an empowering way, her migraines disappeared.
How long does a session usually last, Tim?
One of our sessions is about 40 minutes. So, and then, they're usually about 40 minutes. I do hour sessions so that we have time for me to teach people other tools or tricks or strategies that I've picked up over the years. But a typical hypnosis session is about 45 minutes.
Tim, do you also do online sessions?
And all we do is telephone sessions now.
Right. Excellent.
All our sessions are done, 100% of our sessions are done over the telephone or Zoom or WhatsApp. I have clients all over the world, and we've got like a 95% success rate right over the phone.
Fascinating.
Because when you're closing your eyes and going through the hypnosis, it's the same exact process as if we were sitting in front of each other. And I'm not doing suggestibility tests or rapid induction techniques or any of that, because I found that it's not necessary and it doesn't matter. People used to spend 30 minutes trying to get you into hypnosis. I spend about 5, because it's not the trance that's magic. It's upgrading the beliefs. That's where the power is.
What types of issues or conditions have you seen yourself significant success treating through your hypnosis sessions?
Again, getting over anxiety, past trauma, phobias, eating disorders, fears of all kinds, fears of bugs, fears of flying, fears of storms, fears of people breaking in your house, fear of tornadoes, You know, every kind of fear. I had a woman who was afraid of frogs. Right? I had a local weatherman on TV that was afraid of spiders, and I went on TV, and in 10 minutes I had that tarantula, you know, on his arm. On
Holy cow.
television. Yeah, so yeah, I've helped people. I'm usually the guy to go to when you've tried everything else and nothing has worked. I work with a lot of athletes, especially a lot of teen athletes. They end up getting scholarships. They're usually very successful. I've got a race car driver and a guy that's very successful in professional motocross right now as clients, softball. So I work with Olympians. I work with the military. A lot of people come back from active duty with post-traumatic stress, and I've been able to help free them and get their life back. You know, more veterans die from suicide than from being killed in war.
Yeah.
You know, they come back and they're all messed up, and so it's incredible for freeing people from PTSD. So it's just so effective for so many things. That's why I'm constantly out there. I've been doing this for years and years, just trying to. I'm so thankful that, you know, people like you, Rob, that have these shows that give me the opportunity to be able to reach somebody that is struggling right now, and to let them know that there's hope and that you're going to be okay and there's really nothing wrong with you. You've just got some programming that we need to fix and update, because you are amazing. You have incredible potential. Human beings are like a lamp in a kitchen or in a living room that's unplugged. You know, that lamp is full of potential. If you could plug it in,
Yeah.
it would light up the whole room. It wouldn't be darkness anymore. So we just got to learn how to plug into our source. And when you do that, magic happens. Magic is real.
Could hypnosis be used as a preventative measure to getting caught in some of life's traps?
Absolutely. Yeah. Preventative is the way to be. That's why people meditate or exercise or do yoga or pray or go to church, because we're preparing ourselves to handle whatever shows up. I have a saying: it doesn't matter what shows up. What matters is how you show up. It doesn't matter what's going to happen to you. What matters is what you're going to bring to the situation. You know, you're more powerful than any experience you have because you are the experiencer. You're more powerful than any thoughts you ever have because you are the thinker of your thoughts, and you have the ability to tell yourself a new story anytime you want. But the only way that people usually do that is if they have new experiences that upgrades their beliefs. And so if you are constantly increasing self-awareness, which is what being mindful means, being present moment, being in the present, that's all that means. When you increase your self-awareness, so you're aware of what you're telling yourself, you recognize that what you're telling yourself about the situation is what's causing you to feel the way you're feeling and not the situation itself, it gives you power. It gives you the option to be able to choose how you want to show up in any given moment, and that's called being proactive instead of reactive.
Tim, how about weight loss? How does that work? You know, people need to eat.
People say that all the time. You know, if I'm not smoking anymore, then I'm not smoking, but you still need to eat. That's
Right.
true, but you don't need to eat all the food.
And now
And
you're
you don't have to have, and you don't have to eat all the junk food. I mean, it's literally called junk food. You don't want a junk body,
no.
you know, but if we wouldn't put junk gas in our car, but we've been hypnotized since birth to believe that food is love and food is comfort and food is how we treat ourselves, and
Yeah.
food is how we express connection and community, and we've been told that by the people who sell food.
Yeah, I remember as a
So-
kid, you know, I'd hurt myself, and my mom would say, "Oh, come on over here. Mommy will kiss your knee and give you a cookie, and it'll all be better." And somehow, magically, poof, all better.
All better. Yeah. It wasn't the cookie. It was mom's love,
Yeah.
right? If mom slapped you in the head and then gave you a cookie, you'd be like, I hate cookies.
Yeah. Well, I've never looked at it that way, so thank you, Tim. So basically, yeah.
And that's how.
So basically, what you do is you bring to the person's attention what the good food is and what the bad food is.
So people already know that. So I had a client named Kathleen, and Kathleen came into me, and she was near 300 pounds.
Ooh.
And she sat down and she said, it's impossible for me to lose weight. I've been trying for years. She was around 51, 52. She said, diets don't work for me. And so is it possible for you to hypnotize me to just be a happy fat person?
Oh.
And then she started crying. And I knew that that's not what she wanted,
No.
but she felt completely defeated. Now, she could write her own book on how to lose weight. She didn't need me telling her to eat more fruits and veggies.
Yeah.
She was fully aware, right? She knew what she was doing. She couldn't get herself to stop. People said all the time, I know what to do, I just can't get myself to do it. And so, in fact, it was the title of my first book, What to Do When You Don't Know What to Do.
I love it.
And so, yeah. And so,
Tim,
I knew that that's not what it was.
Tim, we're going to have a bit of a cliffhanger here with Kathleen's story because I've got to take my final break.
Tuned.
All right, Tim, stand by. Thanks very much for coming on. This has been a super show, and I really appreciate it, Tim, so stand by, my friend. Exonation, Tim Shurr is our special guest. His website is indyhypnosis.com, and Tim and I will be back as we wrap up this hour in the X Zone, talking about what happened with Kathleen. My name is Rob McConnell. The X Zone will continue on the other side of this break, and after the end of this segment that we're coming to, that's the first hour of the X Zone. Hour number 2 will start shortly, right after it. Tim Shurr is my guest. www.indyhypnosis.com.
Fog rolls in, thick as a dream, where the fallen lie silenced unseen. Howling winds carry tales of the lost in this haunted place. We all
Welcome back, everyone. Before we get back to our guest, Tim Shurr, I'd just like to once again remind everyone that the people down in Texas along the Guadalupe River can certainly use all the good thoughts, love, and prayers that you can send them down there. They're having a horrific time. Still 160 people missing. So please, tonight when you say your prayers, just mention the people in Texas and ask that your divine power, whoever you believe in, to just send some compassion, love down their way. And to all the volunteers and first responders that are down there, as well as military members, thank you and God bless you for all your hard work. Tim Shurr is my guest. www.indyhypnosis.com. All right, Tim, Kathleen's on my mind. You've implanted the thought. What happened with Kathleen?
Yeah, so there Kathleen is crying because she's 300 pounds and she doesn't think she'll ever be able to lose weight. And she just wants to stop feeling miserable all the time because she just really hated herself. And I knew that hypnotizing her to eat more salad wasn't going to do it. And so what we did was we looked for the unconscious beliefs that were driving her behaviors, because it's an emotional behavior that's happening. Logically, she understood that she should eat an apple instead of a candy bar and a Diet Coke and a whole bag of chips and then a pizza. She knew that she shouldn't be doing that, but then she would do it anyway and feel horrible. So what we did was we used hypnosis. We went back to the event or situation that was most responsible for those feelings that caused this behavior. And it turned out when she was a little girl, she had a hard time with her father, and she felt like her dad never loved her.
Ooh.
Now, and she was little, and so she didn't have the awareness that dad has problems. Her brain said, there must be something wrong with me that he doesn't love me. And so she suddenly, her brain formed this belief that I'm not worthy of being loved or taken care of. If you have a belief that makes you feel that you're not worthy of being taken care of, and you try to take care of yourself, your brain will sabotage you because it's a conflict, because you don't deserve that. So even if you do really well, like she would lose 50 pounds and then gain it all back because there was a conflict. And so what we did was we resolved the conflict. We went and we repaired or reparented her, and we made her feel loved and worthy and supported. We upgraded her belief. We healed her relationship and helped her forgive her father, and gave her a whole new way of showing self-love, which was through eating healthy and exercising and taking care of herself. And then she went to work, right? She had this newfound sense of purpose and joy, and 9 months later, she was down 144 pounds.
Good for her.
She lost half her body weight. In fact, there was a point about 11 months into it where I had to hypnotize her to stop working out so much because she was getting too skinny, if you can imagine that. So she was exercising twice a day because she was just so committed. And I'm like, you don't have to do that anymore. And that was like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And she has kept that weight off ever since because people are so full of fear and skepticism. They're like, yeah, she probably gained it back. No, she didn't, because we upgraded her core beliefs.
You know, there's a couple of shows on television now where people go to see these doctors. They're 600 pounds plus. And their idea of losing all the weight is having geriatric surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't they just take the time, see someone like you, talk to somebody like you? No, they should talk to you directly. What the hell? And, have you work with them so that they don't have to go through the geriatric process. They don't have to go through the aftercare. They can do it themselves. I find this ridiculous that there is so much wealth through people like you and your associates that, why doesn't the medical community use your guidance and use the knowledge that you have to work with them to help their patients?
Well, I think it's an excellent question. And for many years, I've been pushing real hard at hypnosis conventions to teach hypnotists how to be educational marketers.
Right.
How we have to keep sharing our stories and getting the word out there and making this mainstream. And I think that in a lot of ways, it is much more accepted than ever before. People are going to hypnotists all the time. Celebrities who have all the money and power are going to hypnotists constantly, to break bad habits and build confidence and overcome the past. So it's becoming more and more accepted, but still, insurance doesn't cover it. A lot of doctors think it's, hooey-fooey because they don't know anything about it. And it's because of shows like yours, Rob, where we're able to have this conversation that more lives are going to be saved. I mean, your show is literally saving lives tonight because we're sharing this message, and there's somebody that's listening right now that's going to take some action and do something and turn things around. And that's just a beautiful thing.
I've always believed that if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So I'd like to try and be part of the solution. What about the drug crisis that we have in today's society, the opioid overdoses, fentanyl, and so on? How can hypnosis help these people?
So I was used to be an addictions counselor, and I worked in the hospitals, inpatient, outpatient. I worked with kids that were kicked out of school, kids that were in gangs, people who were addicted to all kinds of stuff, and I would teach them how to get high on hypnosis instead of everything else. And it was incredible. But we have an epidemic of insecurity. We live in an age of anxiety. Mm-hmm. And people are crippled by fears of not being good enough. This imposter syndrome is rampant. And because of it, we're walking around feeling worthless and trying to change how we feel. Because you can't just feel terrible every day of your life, and a lot of people do. And so we get hooked on drugs, and then certain drugs, like that stuff gets into your brain and messes with you real fast, and then it's very difficult to get off of it. But you can. Like, I've helped people that were hardcore alcoholics that drank for 40 years straight. We did a couple sessions, and they didn't drink anymore, and they didn't need AA. And so I've helped so many people to stop smoking. I've lost count, right? Or vaping, and so we have to upgrade our core identity And that is what's going to set people free. And then we've got to teach them new ways to feel peaceful, that aren't detrimental.
All right, but how about someone who has chronic pain? They take certain narcotics like Tylenol 3, or then they build up the resistance of Tylenol 3, and then they have to go to one of the higher
Toradol.
Toradol, yeah.
They're on Toradol, and then they're on hydrocodone, and then they're on, and they just go around the circuit. This is the best metaphor for this, because I've seen it all the time. Imagine that you have a race car, and you put all your money into the race car to make it go faster.
Yep.
But you don't train the race car driver. So what happens is the driver keeps putting that car into the wall and crashing. And with us, what we do is we have chronic pain, so we go to doctors who make us take tests, who draw our blood, who give us medicine, who tell us to do surgeries, and then sometimes we'll get physical therapy. And that's all we ever really get. We're not training the person inside the body. We're not addressing the emotions. We're only addressing the physical body. And that's why people keep crashing. And so we just keep going from doctor to doctor. Or, well, I tried alternative medicine. What'd you do? Well, I went and I had acupuncture, and then they gave me herbs. It's the same thing. It just looks different. And so you got to address the emotions. And when you have chronic pain and you have autoimmune challenges, there was almost always underneath some kind of abuse, not feeling loved, being molested, right? Having feeling terrified growing up, being bullied, right? Going through scary experiences that cause our fight or flight response to be activated all the time. It's like having a fire alarm that's constantly going off even when there's no fire. And when it comes to the fight or flight response, it was only meant to be used for seconds, but it seems that there are people who keep it going for minutes upon minutes upon minutes, and they're defeating hours. Hours and months. And when you have a steady drip of cortisone, or cortisol and adrenaline going into your body, it eats you up. And then your body swells to protect you. We call it inflammation. And we've got an epidemic of inflammation. And then we're using Tylenol and all these anti-inflammatories, but it's not really dealing with the source. So it's like having a barrel with a hole in the bottom of it, and all we're doing is dumping more water in. We got to patch the hole in the bottom of the barrel if you want to create relief.
Tim, time has gone by so fast this hour. We have to have you back in the future, but I've got about 2 minutes left. What's your ultimate goal or legacy with the work you're doing?
I want people to know that you matter, that you are loved, that God loves you, we love you, and that it's most important that you love you, and that you can do anything you put your mind to if you have the right beliefs and you have the right support. It's not too late. You're just one belief away, sometimes a couple beliefs, but you're just one belief away from your next big breakthrough. And often your biggest breakthroughs are hiding in the places you don't want to go. So if you just have the courage to take one more step forward and go there, then it'll be worth it, I promise you. So just keep believing in yourself. And if you are a practitioner and you want to learn how to take it to the next level for your clients, we offer our One Belief Away hypnosis certification. And I want to build an army of healers who make a significant impact on our happiness in the world today.
It's just like the child who's afraid of the monster under the bed until he actually, with dad or mom, takes a look under the bed and sees that there's no monster there.
There's no monster. Yeah. That's right. The monster is our fear of fear. That's what the monster is. And we can learn how to upgrade that and surround ourselves with angels instead.
I like that. Tim, I want to thank you ever so much for joining us. Continued success, and I look forward to the next time you join us back here in the X Zone. So until then, take care, my friend, and if you need us, we're here for you.
Thank you, Rob. Such a pleasure every time.
You take care, Tim, and X Zone Nation. If you'd like to contact Tim for a one-on-one consultation, or if you'd like to check out his website, once again, www.indyhypnosis.com. I'll be back on the other side of this short break after a pause for a good cause as we go into hour number 2 of tonight's show here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And you're listening to us on the Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ, here in St. Catharines. And they stream us around the world on classic1220.ca. Interesting conversation with Tim once again. Check out his website, www.indyhypnosis.com. And once again, to all the people down in Texas, our thought, love, and prayers are with you all.